Hey everybody, welcome back to another play analysis video. It's me again, I'm Rydro. I'm a content creator and a caster for youth throwing, and today we'll get a Platinum 2 2v2 gameplay to analyze. Before we get into the video, I would like to remind you guys that if you want free coaching and weekly tournaments with cash prize pool, make sure to join your throwing Discord community. Link will be down there in the description, and without any further ado, let's go and start the video. Right from the start, I don't really like the way you were feathering with the boost just to get there. If that was me and if I wanted to go and follow my teammate's kickoff, I would have just boosted forward just a little bit and I would have front flipped towards this boost and I would have just stayed there, not completely stopping and losing all of my momentum, but at least front flipping and slowing down just as I grab this small boost pad. Not a bad attempt here. It's understandable that these kind of clears are quite difficult at this level, but I think you could have turned around just to have a better way of facing the ball. Like you could have at least turned like that so it could be facing the ball forward and it could have easily jumped and flipped into the ball, for example, instead of just hitting it like that and what you have done already, which is basically passing the ball to your opponents. I appreciate the way that you are picking the small boost pads in your way because you had none and you kind of went like that, and this is a really smart play, which is grabbing this one and also grabbing the other one, and you went for the shot, so that's a really nice play from you. You definitely need to work on your kickoffs. Here is also a quick tip. So if you want to win the 50s or the kickoffs, you want to make sure that you want to flip into the ball on the dead center of the ball right here. Let's say this is your car and this is like the wheels and whatever. So you want to make sure that the nose of the car has to face this area from the ball and you want to flip into it just to get more power so you could have a better chance of winning the kickoff or maybe even a 50. But what you have done right here, which is basically barely even hitting the ball and you didn't really have that much of power, or the chance of winning that kickoff was very, very low. I think it's quite unnecessary to go for that because he's already up in the air. He could have boosted enough just to tap the ball as he lands, and that could have changed the direction of the ball, and you have already made the jump quite early. And also if you want to look at your teammate, for example, he's already planning to go for it now, even though he's completely far away from the ball and he's not really gonna make it. But we're not gonna look at your teammate's mistakes the entire time, so you kind of jumped a lot earlier. Could have just stayed on the ground instead of jumping like that, and you kind of put yourself out of position, and that caused you to concede a goal. And also you could have went like this, for example, you could have grabbed these small boost pads and on your way, rotate here because it's obviously going to be shooting the ball right there anyway. So you could have grabbed these small boost pads, or maybe at least just this, and maybe you want to come from this area, for example, so just in case if it goes from here or maybe even here, for example, you could still at least cover some options. But the way you are going back, you kind of left a lot of gap here. So maybe if you're like going actually like that, you had a better chance of saving it, but it all came down from that miscommunication between you and your teammate because he jumped way too early for it. He was already planning to go for it and you just grabbed the boost, so you could have already went back and left it for your teammate, so none of this would have happened. Okay, I think you kind of stopped because you were trying to read the ball, but in that time where you just completely stopped and did nothing besides looking at the ball, you could have used those maybe 2 seconds or maybe 1.5 seconds or something just to grab this small boost pad on your way too. So you would have more than 12, for example, and you could have also a better shot. Not a bad attempt, good read and nice block too. That's also a good shot, but he Here is the thing, I mean, it's not completely wrong, but you could also see that your teammate is on the left side, so you could have also passed it for your teammate, for example, and you could have also a shot on net right away. But again, I'm not saying your decision was wrong here, but this is like also possibly a plan B in this situation. Still good follow from your teammate, by the way. I would say work in the recoveries. I have no idea what was that. And also the way you went to defend, I think it would have been much better for you to, you know, go like this, and you want to stay here. So you could face this area, for example, because he's going for a 50. So you want to make sure that you could at least cover the net if your teammate loses that 50. But what you have done was basically driving on like that, and you kind of took a turn like that. And as you were taking that turn, let's say that your teammate lost the 50 and you would be facing backwards, and there's like no way you could have been helpful in that situation. Again, not a big deal, but this is something that is really nice to keep in mind. You don't want to make a lot of adjustments while you're already in the net. Here I think you kind of jumped way too early. There are like possible outcomes from this play is that your teammate could have went for the bump, and after he bumps this opponent, you could have a better chance of jumping and going for the shot. But you kind of jumped way too early, so it was kind of unclear if the opponent could go and drive up the wall and he could clear it to this side. And if he did, and you have already made that jump and you already committed to it, your teammate is also out of position. He's in this area, for example, and you guys could get countered on, and there is nobody ready to defend. And they also had a lot of boost in that play, and kind of wasted all of it just to get that touch. Not a bad back pass, but again, you grabbed another corner boost, so you have like maybe 80, and you wasted all of that on this kind of weird recovery. Here you should have also trusted your teammate. He's already going for it, and you don't really have a lot of boost. So I would say going for the small boost pads like that, for example. I think maybe if you took a turn like that and you want to be back post, would have been much better. You want to leave some kind of space between you and your teammates if they want to go for a 50. So if he loses it, for example, let's say the 50 happens here. So this is your teammate and this is the opponent, and you're like kind of close here. So you're kind of standing in this position, and if the ball ever like gets blown to this area, or maybe here, or maybe even here, there's like no way for you to make a turn like that and, you know, go and save it, especially since you got like 0. But if you're, let's say, even further, let's say you are here, or maybe even here, or whatever, as the ball goes right there, you could have even more time to react to that ball, and you can also have a better chance of clearing it. So if you see your teammate going for a 50, make sure that there is some good distance between you and him. You could have went and grabbed the boost faster. You could have grabbed this small boost pad, front flip, just to go and secure this a lot faster instead of just casually driving, and kind of delayed that. Not a big problem, you still managed to grab a boost, and you also managed to make a nice pass. That still worked, but I also don't really understand why you kind of jumped after hitting the ball. Alright, so it's gonna be a solo play here, we're gonna be skipping that. Yeah, this one is quite tricky, even at like C3 or even low GC lobbies. So you get to have a neutral kickoff, and the ball bounces with a lot of power off the wall, and it's gonna be like right on this line, for example, and you have the players to be going for the ball like here and also here. So basically it's gonna be another kickoff, but the risk is that whoever wins that read and also gets to have that 50 or whatever, they're gonna have a huge advantage So if you lose it, you're gonna lose it so badly, you could get scored on because your teammate just went for the kickoff, he doesn't really have a lot of boost and he's gonna be out of position. And also you're gonna go for it and let's say you whiff and you end up being in this area, for example. So there's gonna be nobody to defend. What you could have done was basically stand or like maybe not really go for it. You could have just waited like that. So as it bounces like that, you could recognize this situation a lot faster. You could go possibly grab this boost and you want to go like that to defend instead of trying to rush an early pressure or something, because this is a double-edged sword. This may work in 3s, but in 2s you need to be careful when it comes to applying this kind of strategy. Personally, even I'm like a C3 player, maybe even low GC, I normally don't really go for these kind of shots unless that's we're being down or something and we don't really have a lot of time. So I would just go for more aggressive plays. But in this situation, like also it is 2v2, I don't think it's really recommended. It's much better to be smarter than everybody else and be careful about that kind of approach. You could have picked more small boost pads, and also that one was crucial. That one was crucial and caused you to concede a goal. You could have went like this and you could have defended the net much better way, but this one, like, this is really important and you didn't really pick it up. And once you get there, you don't really have any boost to work with, and you were like very close to get that touch. So all what you needed was maybe 10, exactly just one small boost pad that could have helped you to get that clear. So you definitely need to work on your boost management and the way you also feather with the boost. I don't really recommend that. And you guys also conceded another goal, basically the same way. So the ball bounces off the wall, your teammate and your opponent, both of them went for it, and for the second time you guys don't really make it to that ball and you get to concede right away this time. Again, you were feathering with a boost, I'm not sure why. If you really wanted to go there, you could have kept on boosting, and maybe once you got there, you could have front flipped just to secure this boost right away. You don't always have to rely on front flipping unless like you have 0. You could still front flip once you have enough boost just to waste less of it. Not a bad touch here, but I don't really like this recovery. You kinda kept on air rolling for no reason. Here I think that was a very dangerous decision. You just grabbed these 12, and I think you should have stayed here, for example. If the ball is going in this area, you should just go and like be here. So if it's gonna land like here, for example, you could easily jump, use that 12 boost you just picked and flip into the ball just in case if this opponent went for it and also want to go and score it. But what you have done was basically driving like that with ball camera off, and you kind of got there and you don't really get to see what's really going on. And if the shot was already on net, you could have been completely useless in this situation, and there's like nothing you could have done about that. But that's a really good counterplay from you. This time it works for you guys, but this is completely risky. And it took you a lot of boost just to get from here to here. That took you like 70 boost. You could have just boosted for just a little bit once you get here, and you could have front flipped. So you could also gain some momentum without having to waste, let's say, this kind of like front flip. This could possibly save you 20 boost just to get from here to here, and that could have made some kind of difference. And there is also another very questionable decision here. That's a nice little tap, and you're going for the boost maybe or maybe not, but you kind of made the turn as you were going for it and you don't really have a lot of boost. So it would have been much better for you to say that you don't really have a lot of boost and you could have left it for your teammate since he got a better chance of going for it. And he didn't even grab that boost. So you're going back. You were like already very close to it and you kind of changed your mind and you wanted to go and defend. So you could have made your mind whether you want to pick the small boost pad or you want to go for the big boost. Not a bad 50 here. That was actually good because it allowed your teammate to rotate back since he was already behind you. That dribble could have been problematic for you guys, so back flipping into the ball or just throwing any 50 at your opponent just to give your teammate more time to go back is a nice idea. And that also worked as a back pass for him. Not bad, but I mean, it could go to free play. You could also disable unlimited boost, and you want to make sure to go and practice wall clears, or whenever the ball goes up on the wall, you could also go and try to follow it up just to get more consistent on these wall clears. You could have also left it, by the way, since nobody was challenging you. You could have just stayed with it, not really hitting the ball, since nobody was challenging you again. So you could have went for it like that, and you could have went down with it, and you could have left it for your teammate since he was also going for it. So you want to shadow the ball just to be present and be like, if you guys want to go for the ball, talking to your opponent, well, you're still close to the ball and you could still make a play just to surprise them. Of course, they're not going to go for it since you're a lot closer. So let's say if you're here, for example, you're going to be a lot closer to the ball, and possibly nobody's going to challenge that, considering the distance from this player and also the opponent. So you could have took your time instead of rushing this kind of clear. That's a good save. Not a bad shot, but again, you want to be careful when it comes to these kind of shots. So you want to make sure to hit the ball from here or maybe here, and flip into the ball from this side so you could make it go in this side. But the way you get that touch was way too powerful, and it almost hit the backboard or maybe bounced off the crossbar. And I believe there is also a custom training pack for these kind of shots. Like, they're normal and basic, they're kind of like an open net, but the bounces could be very tricky, and I think it's really worth it to get consistent at these kind of shots no matter what rank you are. And again, that's a nice follow from your teammate. No, I don't think going for that kind of boost was really worth it. Like here, if your teammate messes up and your opponent beats him to the ball and makes a play off the wall or something, and let's say the ball ended up being here, that could have been really dangerous for you guys. That's an awful double commit. If your teammate was saying that he's already going for it, you should have already left it for him. But honestly, since you're a lot closer to the ball, your teammate should have trusted you, whether if you're gonna hit the ball or not. So I don't think he should have committed to that because he put himself out of position and he just took that clear or something. So it's really the best clear, of course, since it ended up being some kind of an accidental pass, but your teammate should have stayed in the back just in case if something goes wrong. And from your side, there is also something that you could work on, which is wall clears. That's definitely going to be worth it for you. I think you should have stayed back post, for example, because this is like the same kind of situation. So you want to go like this, for example, and you want to slow down once you get close to the post. So if the ball bounces right here and somebody hits the ball, for example, let's say, wait, let me just change the perspective just a little bit so I could explain how the shot can be extremely dangerous. Yeah, so you're gonna go like this and maybe stay back post and not really completely getting rid of all of the momentum that you have. As it bounces off like that, your opponent could be taking the shot. Let's say here, you could easily boost just a little and hit it off to the side. Or maybe let's say they go for a shot like that, well, you could still cover these kind of options. So back post would have been much better in this situation, especially since your opponent got a really good catch. And let's say if he was already facing this area, that could have been a goal for your opponent because you're kind of facing sideways and you're kind of leaving this whole big gap in the defense. They could easily go ahead and shoot at. But it's good that your teammate was able to have a 50. Not a bad challenge here from you. I like that you kinda took control. Your teammate, he kinda rushed it again here. You're already up ahead, so at this level, players aren't really that consistent at aerials, and if you also wanna calculate the distance between this player and your teammate, well, this guy could easily boost forward up on the wall and he will get a lot closer without even having to go for an aerial. And your teammate jumped for that way too early, so if he misses, there's nobody to defend, and this is like the worst way to concede in 2v2 or 3v3, which is overcommitting and leaving the net wide open. Here I think you were kinda panicking. Not a bad attempt, but you should have already went all the way back since you got no boost. This guy completely missed, but let's say if you have like maybe 10 or 20, that's why I said boost management is also a problem for you. You needed maybe 20 just to at least go forward and hit the ball, just to prevent that pressure from building up on you guys. But you could have also went for the boost, you know, going back, grabbing small boost pads and being back post and leaving this for your teammate could have been a better play. Boost capping is like one of the worst things that you could do. So stop doing that. You had already like maybe 29 or something. And again, you were like feathering with a boost. And the shot didn't really end up being that great. So again, if you have just went and grabbed small boost pad, that would have been much better than relying that big boost to show up. Here you had a lot of boost and you wasted all of it just to get down. So you had like 60 here. And on that small recovery you have made, you have already wasted all of it. And there's like also a small boost pad that you didn't really pick, which is at least picking this one. Again, that 12 boost could have made difference since the ball's like already up and your teammate is already going for it, so you could have trusted him. During that time, you could have went and grabbed this boost and you could have possibly stayed on the post or whatever, maybe on the net, just to be ready and defend if something goes wrong. That could have made a huge difference in that 50 again if you grab that 12 boost. The boost was like already in front of you. You should have definitely picked it. Not a bad attempt. Not sure about jumping off the wall though. That kinda killed your momentum, and again going for that corner boost, that's really risky. This kind of shot is really risky by the way, because if your opponent gets to have a nice clear, let's say they are positioned like that and facing this area, and you shoot the ball and it goes and lands here, they could easily boom it from this health all the way toward the net, and nobody's there to defend because your teammate already took the shot. He's still in need of some time just to get right back and be able to defend, and you went for the shot right away. So being that aggressive in an overtime and rushing the offensive plays without giving your teammate enough time just in case if something goes wrong is never really a good idea. So there is no problem when it comes to being just a bit passive when it comes to valuing position. I like the control that you wanted to go for. I would say play once and practice dribbles if you really wanted to go for that. Kinda ended up being way out of position just because of that attempt, and this kind of pinch, it was, well, some kind of a lucky shot, but again, you being out of position, it all came down from that poor dribble play you had. So that's why I said go and do more runs and maybe practice dribbles just to get more consistent at that. Alright, that's the end of the analysis. I would say work on your boost management. Practice a lot of free play with limited boosts instead of unlimited. You could also do more runs just to be more consistent at those dribbling plays, and it's also going to give you a good sense of when to push and when you should be just being back a little bit. So I don't think communication was that much of a problem besides one misplay you guys had. And I know that at this level, everybody hates free play. So free play is important for sure, but if you don't want that, then at least you should do once, like I said. And to everybody who's watching this, I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. You could also check out my personal channel. I upload replay analysis videos every Tuesday. I got lots of analysis videos of Grand Champion to Supersonic Legend. Link to my channel will also be in the description. Once again, I have been Rydro. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.